starts right about now, and it's a good start there off the front from Suarez Yadav, and it's going to be all about the charge down towards that opening Mercedes-Benz Arena section as they go on through. It looks like it's all nice and clean at the moment, but watch for the braking markers as they look to try and jam on in and make sure they all slow up quite nicely as they go through. And Yadav already gets a bit of contact, and through, I believe that's Raj Tula, who may have just taken the lead as he goes on through, as it might actually be Ted Patel, not quite too sure, but it is Yadav now in second position on the start, and already all more contact. There goes Raj Tula, so to speak, now into troubles, and he's going to have to be very cautious about the way he joins back. He's now down into 12th place.
Mia has moved up at least about 4-5 position. Yes, she has. Already up to 6th position again. Good start by him, and so is Aro Ravindran up to 9th position. Where is Amit Kuti? He's stuck in traffic. He's on number 13. I was trying to look at Steve Smith. He's moved to number 9, and Mia on the move. Can she move up to number 5? She can, but there's a little bit of contact. Possibly a car turned in a flip as well.
Didn't quite catch who that was, but it's someone up and over and in trouble then in the early sections as Raghav goes down the inside, picks up the move on Mia Rose. It's Garvit Lodha who is in the lead, Tej Patel in second, and this is Navneet Kumar here in 4th position, trying to chase up to Swaraj Yadav and push on forward and gain that position as much as possible. But Garvit Lodha did enough off the start and has really rocketed away to the tune of at least 1.7 seconds here at the front, and has done exactly what is needed here just to break clear in the early stages and do what's needed. Build a gap early, try and defend it later on when the quicker drivers start making moves through.
They're having a scramble, in fact, starting down to the Tej Patel all the way down to Aro Ravindra and Khan right now in position number 10. They're really having a scramble, absolutely no space. This is where they're trying to stretch their arms out to get a little space there as well. It'll take a minute or two for them to just settle down onto a race space as Garvit sets the space so far. Tej Patel, at the point of time, we just saw that moving in between the second and the third. Navneet Kumar close, but not close enough yet. So almost equal distances between 1, 2 and 3.
And the best starter of them all is diving down the inside is Oshan Kathadia as he moves up into 4th place, getting through on the pole to Swaraj Yadav. So very much this could be Kathadia's race, who had a very good pace when it came to Imola at the start of the season, but ultimately the issues that Kathadia's had is a poor run of luck. And this start, really, you could say, for Kathadia has been the one that he has been looking for more than anybody else, just pushing forward, getting the result that's needed, and all of those drivers behind who he was expected to be getting close to, the likes of Smuts and Kuti, and in fact Kuti is through on Ara Ravindra and now up into 9th place, so Ravindra dropping back to exactly where he started 10th. Doesn't like reverse grid races already. Kuti now gains more ground on the championship perspective.
Bhushan Katoria is 10 points clear between Steve Smart and him between the fight for the third and the fourth. If he's able to take a race win, this will really augur well for himself, and he should be able to pull that back in.
Exactly, we have just lost feed here, ladies and gentlemen, so we'll try and get you back as much as possible here at this stage. We do now have pictures back. Garvit Lodha here currently at the front, but Tej Patel is starting to claw this gap back down again, and this is the worry that Lodha had. It's the case of, Mia Rose in the background there, just going off into the gravel. There was contact going through the big right-hander there that leads up to this long straight, so Mia Rose is dumped right back down the field. Here's Raghav looking to try and jump up into the top 5, but immediately issues then in the opening couple of laps, but Raghav not close enough yet to go and make that move. Is behind that Steve Smuts. Mirrors full of Amit Kuti here, who is determined to try and charge through the field at this early stage.
Bhushan Katoria sets the fastest lap time. He should look to move into the top 3 any moment, and if he is going to lose time this time around, he will not have a chance for a podium or even a race win for that matter. Raghav Badoja tries to dive in on the inside, should be trying to make an overtaking maneuver. Does that stick? We'll come to that in just a little bit as Steve Smart somehow managed to keep that pressure on him. Amit Kuti chasing him down, so is Aro Ravindra. So the championship leader in the format of Amit, along with Aro Ravindra, along with Steve Smart in 7, 8 and 9 respectively at the moment.
The can't afford to get bogged down and frustrated. It's that sort of race. Tej Patel takes the race lead away then from Garvit Loda and did so with a very, very accomplished move through the S's section, or through the arena section. Loda now into second, Navneet in third, and there is Oshan Kathadia, who has a little bit of time to play with in fourth place because Swaraj Yadav is holding up everybody fifth on back, and that's the main contenders. He takes the big wide line. In fact, he's gone way too wide. He's in the gravel now is Oshan Kathadia. He'll lose so much time trying to gather that back up again, and now he's brought himself right back into the clutches. That was a case of getting a little bit too comfortable with a gap that was there for Kathadia. Now he's got to do all that work again, and he'll be dragging everyone else along. Kuti is already up into sixth place.
He's got to rue that particular move down there. He possibly should have just tailed the car ahead. Now he was fighting for the third position with Tej Patel. Now he is in the danger of surrendering his number 4 to Swaraj Yadav very soon as well. Oshan Kathadia needs to pull himself, and this is the moment to do so.
Absolutely, we've been keeping an eye and a focus on this sort of race and how it needs to be all just quietly done. There is Garvit in second position right now. Navneet Kumar is now your race leader, so Tej Patel has dropped 2 places, and that has brought Navneet now up into position number 1 here in this field, and now it's his turn to maybe think about breaking away, as there's the move for second and third. Patel then going to the inside, trying to pick this one off, and is he good enough on the brakes to make this one happen? It certainly looks like it from this angle. Amit Kuti goes purple, sets the fastest lap. Patel now up into second position, and Kathadia back onto the back, looking to try and get through. Smuts has lost the position now to Ravindra as well, so finds himself in 9th place to Ravindra's 8th, and Arrow needs to be aggressive and attacking very early in the way that he gets things going. Yadav under pressure from Budaraja, as well as, in fact, that's Amit Kuti just about getting through on the outside to move up into top 5 territory.
You know, in turn number 7, that's where you can actually carry the car just up the camper. You can arrange the car the way you want it, but in the other places, you need to line your nose of your car much earlier. You should make sure that there is enough traction down there. And one man who's possibly going to be learning from that mistake is Oshan. At the moment, moves up to position number 3 with Garvit at number 4. Amit Kuti is still chasing him down. I just hope the mistakes that they did earlier, they just put behind, and we're going to have a much better race now.
And Ravindra now finds a way through on Swaraj Yadav up into 7th place, only 1 place away. Yadav runs wide through the Schumacherette, so Smuts will breeze through on the inside, which turned to the outside to make that move happen. Now up into 8th place. Yadav going 1 place backwards. Garvit Loda now losing a place. That's Oshan Kathadia, who's found a way through, now up into 3rd position here, and now will look to be attacking the top 2 and needs to attack fast, because the likes of Kuti and Ravindra will start chasing down that gap and bringing this race back into the perspective that they've got. But Kathadia is looking so smooth and confident right now, just trying to find that move, trying to be aggressive in the early goings, and it's been one which he's been trying to find, and it's not there at the moment. This is where you start using all of the in-car systems here, Solomon, to make that move, as Kathadia's 2039 becomes the fastest of the day.
Well, he's on the move, and he really needs to get a move on. But now he's going to fight for the second as well, as he tries to drive in on the inside. The braking needs to happen at least 100 meters before that corner. Now it gets even more lighter, because when you come to turn number 2, you really don't have your reference point as to when you want to get onto the brakes. But this time around, Oshan Kathadia somehow manages to keep the pressure again. He should get a clear track ahead of him as he comes to quite a corner. No, he doesn't. It's still made to defend.
Well, he's got to pick up the run off the exit here, and I think that was the plan here from Oshan, because he'll just breeze on through Tej Patel, jump up into 2nd position, and now his focus will be on Navneet Kumar, who leads this race at this stage. We've had a couple of lead changes, at least 3 of them here inside of the opening 10 minutes of this one at this stage, and every driver is now trying to jump up through the field and gain as many places as possible to try and have that run back up through the pack. So this is going to be about now, look at those behind, because now Amit Kuti's on the back of Loda and Patel will be looking to try and get through A, S, A and P.
So Tej Patel now almost backing off and taking and trying to consolidate his fight for the third position along with Amit Koti in the mix there. Now, Oshan Kotadia is clearly clocking faster than Navneet Kumar. Any minute now, we're going to see Navneet Kumar possibly facing off maybe towards the home straight or towards the later part of the right-hander. Fast right-hander, that's where the battle could come in. It's going to be very interesting because he still have about 3 car lengths ahead of him.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to step aside for one moment here with your VW VRC action round 6 here at the Nürburgring.
Why? It's hard to explain why. It's just that feeling of freedom, you know? Being out there on the road and you have all this power. I mean, I could just be cruising down the road, taking it easy, or I could push that pedal and make that engine sing, right? Power is, it's a beautiful thing, man. But, you only understand it when you feel it, you know? And when you do, trust me, you'll know why we live for these nights.
Volkswagen.
Back with more action then as Oshan Kathadia is now up into second position. Amit Kuti now into third, and Ara Ravindra finds himself in position number 5, trying to chase down with Steve Smuts to get by the likes of Tej Patel. There is Ravindra right now. They've got through Raghav Buddharaja, who was going to be always a sort of sticking point here in this sort of race, Solomon. But now these drivers are back near the front. Navneet is going to be on notice, as will Tej Patel.
Arun Ravindra, when we were talking about him, he is a track champion himself. He's a JK Tyre Novice Cup champion. He's a national karting champion. He's also the Indy Karting National Championship. The best part is now he also wants to seal the VRC championship as well. So virtual and on track. So it's a rare combination. But then we're still too very early. We still got a lot of racing to go. Arun Ravindra currently at number 5. Second in the championship. He needs to be ahead of Amit Kuti at any cost. Ideally look for a race win, but Oshan Kotadia also needs to jump up. If he wins this race, this could really help him consolidate his position at number 3 on the championship table.
Exactly, the gap 1 second here at the front of the field. Amit Kuti, though, sets the fastest lap at 2:03.875, and this is going to be a little bit very interesting at this stage. It's going to be a little bit interesting because of the fact now that Kuti is going to have to try and get away through on Kathadia and Navneet, and do so quickly, whilst Ara Ravindra will be trying to chase on down and gain those places back. He's not a million miles away in terms of the way this race is running, but we're starting to hit that small stage of this race where really everything becomes about trying to find that position, trying to find that groove, which gives you those consistent lap times, especially around a long lap here like the Nürburgring is. It's about 5.8, maybe even 6Ks. It's going to be a tough long lap that everyone's going to be trying to get as much of. Keep an eye on Mia Rose, though. She's absolutely flying back through the field. Had an incident on lap 2, which saw her demoted down about 10, 12 places, and now back up into 11th place, trying to challenge Lalica back.
Mia Rose is really bringing in the foray right ahead. She's really taking the fight again, and she's got almost like nothing to lose there. We've been talking about Nürburgring. This track can be very unforgiving and brutal, especially on the fast right-handed and also on the slow curves. So we got to be looking at it. Oshan Kotadia responds to the pressure of Amit Kuti trying to hunt down Navneet Kumar for the fight for the first and 2. He wants to lead the pack at the well because he knows if he's going to wait for it a little bit too late, Amit Kuti is going to be coming all over him again.
Absolutely, and we're going to see here how Amit Kuti wants it, but Kathadia thinking that the inside doesn't work there, but he's now going to have to try and be aggressive here through this endurance-style chicane, which is making life a little bit tougher to go through. We go on board here with Oshan Kathadia trying to find that move and trying to find that place. The red proximity arrow that you see on your screen, it shows who's close in front and who's close behind. At the top, it's in front. At the back, it's behind. And Amit Kuti can see has firmly planted himself on the rear. But look at the toe that Kathadia is going to get here against Navneet Kumar down the inside into turn number 1. And no arguments about it. The race lead changes, and Kathadia now has to hope that Navneet can hold back Amit Kuti for at least a half a lap to give himself some form of daylight.
Good move. Roshan Kothari has done the work. Right now, he's just got to run away into the distance and try and take that race lead with a clear track ahead of him. Navneet Kumar defends at this point of time, not convincingly, but still doing the job at the point of time. But Amit Kuti is going to be trying that again. How do they plan it out when they come down to the curve or just before the chicane?
Well, it's a big lunge now. That's the idea. A little bit of contact there. They came together at the end of turn 4, and then at turn 6, they managed to pick it all up. And Amit Kuti now is up into second position and is chasing with everything that he's got to get to Oshan Kathadia. And at this stage, the Kathadia is going to be the best friend here of one Mr. Ara Ravindra. He's got to get through. He's only just now on the back of Tej Patel, which tells you pretty much all you need to know about how he's been struggling to get the pace out of this circuit here today. And he's got the likes of Steve Smuts behind, who is someone who definitely knows how to attack late on in a race. But Amit Kuti now up into second position, will be wanting to focus on picking up more than just that. But it's going to have to be a long race from here as we find ourselves close. But a driver that we did get a chance to have a little chat about had not the best start to this race, down in 14th place. That's Raj Tula, and here's what he had to say earlier on with us.
Power is, you only understand it when you feel it, you know?
Volkswagen.
Here's Amit Kuti in second position. We weren't able to get you the interview that we were looking for there, so apologies, ladies and gentlemen. But Amit Kuti now into second position and looking to go through. But crucially, Tej Patel is dropping miles down the order, and I wonder if he's had himself a disconnection or something like that. It looks very much off the like, so it promotes Ravindra up then into fourth position, Smuts into fifth. We didn't quite catch it, so down the order goes Tej Patel, and effectively out of the top 15 and out of this race.
Steve Smuts moves up to position number 5. We do remember him talking to us and talking about the weekend connection. He was crossing his fingers and saying, I just need a good connection and I would love to take the race forward. And so far, he's been coming on very, very strongly as well. He's still got about a little bit of gap between him and Aro Ravindra. I was pretty surprised that when Navneet Kumar was attacked by Amit Kuti, there was a defense, I must say, but I thought he could have been a little more aggressive. And the overtaking may have happened somewhere around very quickly, just around the chicane. Now, I'm just beginning to wonder, is Navneet Kumar possibly playing on his mind saying, you know what, let these guys fight it out for the top 2. And maybe if there's an opportunity for me, I would be able to catch them up later.
I wonder if he's even got that sort of pace, because this is the case of those drivers currently in first, second, fourth and fifth, who finished 1, 2, 3 and 4 in the race last time out. So I just don't think he's got the pace to keep up with things. There is Munchal Savla in 7th place right now. He's trying to move on forward, has Raghav just in front and Garvit Loda just behind, as that is Lalit Chabak in 11th place, trying to get as much as possible out of this one and moving through. But keep focused though on those looking to try and have that battle towards the front. A little bit further down the field, Avik Anwar is there in 14th place. He's trying to chase down Raj Tula for 13th, who, remember, started right up near the pointy end of this field. But this is now about the middle stage of this race, finding that pace after that first half, now going out there being aggressive in the second half. Steve Smuts, well, he's got exactly the same role that he had one day ago. Aro Ravindra in front and ideas of overtaking.
You were right, Navneet doesn't seem to be having the space at the moment, and Aro Ravindra on the move to try and grab a third here. Steve Smith would also be looking to possibly make an overtaking maneuver on Navneet. Navneet is now going to be getting a lot of pressure from not one but two cars ahead behind him. This is going to be very interesting as the race folds in. We still have a little over 20 minutes to go. But what a fight back this has been by Mia Rose, starting right at the back after that incident to make up at least overtaking maneuvers of at least 10 overtaking maneuvers to get to the position at number 10 at the moment.
Well, it's been a very aggressive drive. You can see Steve Smith, the lights flashing, that indicates that he's using those in-car systems to start to attack and push forward, and you don't get all of them in terms of the way to move forward, but you've got to strike now while the iron is hot. They're already 4 seconds adrift here of those nearer the front of the pack, so if you're going to start chasing, you're going to need all the time in the world to make that happen. Cavadia currently in control at the front of this race, but Steve Smart's getting a really good run here as they come up out Van Bogen, and you know what? Just lift out of it and let him have it, says Aro Ravindra. I'm not in the mood to fight at this moment in time. This is a case where he can maybe use Steve Smart's pace to try and pull him along, or get pulled along, and try and get past the likes of Navneet, and maybe hope that Cavadia and Kuti come together and there might be penalty positions being put into place.
You got it right as far as Steve Smith. He's already sets in the fastest lap time, and then we also looking down can keep pace with him. Aro Ravindra can definitely keep pace with Steve Smith as they possibly would like to hunt in pairs, if you would like to call it.
Pretty much pack mentality you feel at this stage, and Smuts is going to have to try and drag Aro Ravindra with him here to try and make this one happen. Now Navneet's only a couple of seconds in front, that couple being 1, and now trying to move on and gain a little bit more here in the final 18 minutes of this race. We are well over the halfway stage. The driver who we have talked to earlier on was Pratik Sonowana. He was in 5th position in the championship coming into this round, and at the moment he's looking like he's not in the best position possible, 19th. This is what he had to say earlier on.
My name is Pratik Sonavne, and thank you for the interview. It's such a great feeling to be a part of the Volkswagen's Virtual Racing Championship in 2020. This is my first time I'm racing virtually. In fact, just getting into the virtual racing scene in the past, say about a month or so when the VRC selection started. And it's been a great opportunity. It's been a great learning experience. And overall, I'm really glad that I'm a part of the VRC. I made it to the final 28 drivers grid, and now looking forward to the rest of the championship.
Well, there is Pratik Sonowana not having a good race here today in 19th position. This has been a weekend that he will very much be wanting to forget, and it's going to be costing him crucial ground in championship fights. He was up there quite high with the likes of Cavadia and Smuts, just completely hasn't had the pace. Now here is Oshan Cavadia, and he is just starting to hold off Amit Kuti, who maybe has used up quite a bit in the early stages. He knows that he's got time on his side to work with, so can just happily sit and wait and hold on to these sorts of places. I'd look behind at third though, and Navneet Kumar, because it looks like Smuts is right on the rear and maybe even might be in a position to attack and look down the inside. In fact, he is, and I think he's just taken the place away. Steve Smuts is on a rampage here, up into third, and now we'll be thinking about those in the top 2.
Now you get to start rooting for Steve Smith for the kind of drive and the fight that he brought in yesterday with Aro Ravindra, and today stuck at number 8 and 9, and now he's already up to number 3. You know he's going to be taking the fight to Amit Kuti. Between him and Aro Ravindra, Steve Smith came on top. Now it's going to be between him and Amit. We didn't see that action too much yesterday, but it's going to happen now. Any moment in the next minute or 2. He's closing in. Let's count the car lengths. Okay, about 4 car lengths. Not too much. Amit Kuti needs to respond to that pressure. Maybe put in a fast lap time and put the pressure back on him.
Well, Amit Kuti's gap is about 4 car lengths to Cavadia. To Steve Smuts, it's more like 10 or 12 at this stage, and the waiting game will continue. It will take quite a few laps before that one does resume, or if it does even move forward. So Amit Kuti, just running around here in 2nd position, has just been unable in the second half of this race to really open up and go out there and really find that aggressive drive that is the one that we have been looking at and seeing so many times. There is Smuts through. Ravindra hasn't really been able to put that much ground into Navneet Kumar, and I think that this has been one of the vehicles where we've been saying that you really do need to be within a range to the car in front, because if you're not in that window or in that wheelhouse, so to speak, you don't really have that much of a chance to go out there and attack and be aggressive and gain those places as Jamie Shaw fights it out for 11th and Vladic back.
Mia rose up to 9th position. I do completely agree with you because one, you possibly have to wait it out for the opportunity to present itself. Now, I did see different lines being taken by Steve, different lines being taken by Amit Kuti earlier on, when they're especially on the S's and especially on turn 2. I just give hats off to Steve Smart. There is absolutely no reference point when you get onto that Mercedes arena, but Steve Smart seems to know that particular part of the track more well than most of the guys. In fact, I actually felt that he possibly used that particular corner to make his lining up of moves for the next line.
Well, that certainly does seem to be the case, but this is your race leader, has been for the last 10-15 minutes or so. It's Oshan Kathadia who really got the best start of all of those drivers in the mid-pack here today. Really moved up, got to P5 at the end of lap 1. By lap 2 was up in 4th position, and then just had one little moment down at this corner earlier on in the race, which would have been a heart-in-mouth moment. But the key here for Oshan is that he's just managing this race from the front. He doesn't have to worry too much about behind right now. We know that Amit Kuti's not in a position where he's able to strike. 13 minutes is chalking off laps. He's chalking off one after the other after the other.
Steve Smut, position number 3, Amit Kuti at position number 2, Oshan Kathadia still leads the pack. Navneet Kumar still stuck at number 4, but Mia Rose, what a performance so far. Fell back for a bit, but now lost the position to Rishabh Banerjee down to number 10. She almost gained 10 positions. Amit Kuti on your screens at number 2, taking on the fight to Oshan Kathadia. Steve Smut now seems to have a considerable distance to catch up on. Remember, it was about 4 car lengths. Now it's possibly about 8 to 10 car lengths as we talk about now.
Well, it's all about work and trying to find that time. These two at the front have been really pushing on, and Amit Kuti, maybe the closest he's been all race long. You can see immediately Kathadia is going into a defensive mode here at this stage, trying to make sure that Kuti is out of the draft and not closing up. Ravindra, though, sets the fastest lap of the race, and that's with an overtake on Navneet Kumar. So we'll take that to the bank, and as we take that to the bank, we're going to step aside for one moment. Back with more after this.
It's hard to explain why. It's just that feeling of freedom, you know? Being out there on the road and you have all this power. I mean, I could just be cruising down the road, taking it easy, or I could push that pedal and make that engine sing, right? Power is, it's a beautiful thing, man. But, you only understand it when you feel it, you know? And when you do, trust me, you'll know why we live for these nights.
Volkswagen.
Back with more at this stage. Amit Kuti, second position, trying to be aggressive, trying to attack here. Oshan Kathadia, who is trying to hold off third place in the championship and gain that back here from Steve Smuts. It's a 10-point difference between Kathadia and Smuts right now here, Solomon. And third, that would put them tied on points as they would head to the final 4 rounds of the season.
I was just wondering if they were able to get a driver's eye view of Amit Kuti taking on Oshan Kathadia. That would be super amazing to just have a watch and see what are the kind of lines, the little difference moving into one, especially the fast right-hander, how are they able to take it down. But then if you just joined in, Oshan Kathadia is number 1, Amit Kuti number 2. It is us, Arur Ravindra is now Steve Smart is at number 3, Arur Ravindra at number 4. There has Then Navneet Kumar at number 5, Raghav at number 6, Munjal at number 7, Garvit at 8, and Rishabh Banerjee at 9, and Mia Rose at number 10.
Yeah, that's Mia Rose now just dropping down just a little bit now into 10th place. Rishabh Banerjee finding a way back through. So that's a mistake for Mia Rose. She'll have to correct that and find a way back through again to get back into that 9th position. But for the time being anyway, this has been a race for those at the front. We haven't talked about those who've been having a quiet run so far, like Raghav Bidaraja in 6th place, Munjal Savla. This is a big run for him in the championship, expecting 7th place right now, and he'll be really happy, Solomon, because he's also been another one of those drivers who's been on the wrong side of Lady Luck.
Luck plays a huge part, and I know motorsports and virtual motorsports can be really hard. You may want to do everything right, but things don't work the way you plan and the way you drive sometimes. You possibly need a little bit of things to go with you. So as they say, if you're not going through luck, just keep at it. And that's one thing he's trying to do at the moment. Munjal Savla is positioned at number 7 and still fighting for the number 6. Interesting fight for Raj Dula, who's still fighting a three-way battle between Avik and Aditya Pawar for the 13th, 14th and 15th. It's a two-way fight for the winner position at the moment.
Certainly is. Kothadi and Kuti have got themselves in this position, and they've worked slightly together in a way that means that they don't have to worry about Smuts, they don't have to worry about Ravindra. They're giving themselves a couple of laps towards the end of the race where they can really go out there and be aggressive. It's about a 3-second gap that Steve Smuts has, and he's got himself about a second here over Ara Ravindra, so that is going to be the eyes that he'll be very happy with at this stage. Third looks like the only way he's going to get to, but Kuti starting to close down in that draft. This could be a late look. He'll have to go the long way around to pick this one off here if he's going to attempt it, and he is trying here in the 15. They come together nose to tail, and now they try and attack here off the exit. Kuti's starting to turn the screw and be aggressive.
I was just thinking that Oshan Kotaria should have just stuck to his racing line. The moment you decide that you are not going to stick to your racing line when you're trying to defend, it kind of opens up an opportunity for Amit Kuti, and he's going to take it. Amit Kuti is going to possibly look one of the straights and maybe a fast right-hander to try and get past him. Oshan Kotaria had done so far well of holding him back for a number of laps here.
Done so well. That was the first real defensive driving we saw. Had to defend that one into 3 also, which is not the easiest place to defend a move, but did enough to hold off the line. And now Amit Kuti here might just be testing the waters, trying to find an overtake. The more though that he tries to go out there and find those moves, and the more unsuccessful he is at picking them up though here, Solomon. The key is going to be, well, you're going to allow that driver in 3rd place to start chasing up.
That's what happens when you are a race leader and you get challenged for the race leader position again. Oshan Kotaria is feeling the nerves. Now he's changing his lines, he's changing his early turns in. You would have seen earlier, about a couple of laps earlier, there's a calm, there's a little poise. He kept fighting on the corners there as well. Now Amit Kuti trying to get a mistake out of him. Now how do they come around as they turn into a quick right-hander here?
Well, up the hill towards that chicane, and once more, Amit Kuti not in range here to be anywhere near attacking, but he's going to have to use this for momentum to go out there and attack at the final corner if needs be. But there is Sonowana down in 19th place, really struggling here, and is actually under pressure for that 19th place on top of that. So definitely not having a good day in terms of the championship. That's Siddharth Satyan trying to find a way through, but folks will have to go on that driver in 3rd position soon. We'll see how much that gap is closing on in. Not enough, it seems, at this stage, but it definitely looks like he's got a little bit closer. We had a chance to talk to Steve Smuts earlier on, and this is what he had to say.
I'm Steve, I'm 33 years old. It's just always been there, my interest in motorsport since I grew up. I raced go-karts when I was younger, and ever since I was a young boy I've always been interested in cars, interested in airplanes, interested in helicopters, anything really with an engine. My uncle used to race motorcycles, but he broke a lot of bones, so I got into the 4-wheel stuff so I wouldn't have to hurt myself so much.
Gear it all up. He's in third position. He's trying to get himself to the top two, but they're just a little stretch too far. And I think a podium may be all that Steve Smuts is looking for. And he's hoping that the likes of Roshan Kathadia gets overtaken by Amit here and that he can close on that gap here for what is going to be the extend his gap, sorry, I should say, in third place in the championship. Amit Kuti, though, has exactly what he wants. Another points or gap gain over his rival, and he could move now clear by over 15 points if he can move up into position number 1.
He's held him for over 15 minutes, make it 10. He's got to hold it for the last 5, and if he's able to do that, Roshan Kathadia will actually pat himself on the back and said, it's a job well done. All he's got to do is maybe get into a corners a little bit earlier and put the pressure back on Amit Kuti and surprise him with that little bit of turns, especially somewhere around here. Okay, onto the home straight very, very quickly in no time. And as they quickly take as much of speed into corner number 1 and hit the curbs slightly and just touch it so that you don't give too much of space to Amit Kuti, so at least he's forced to take the outside line.
What's key here is that they will have 3 laps to go in this race. They will cross the line at the end of 2 laps with about 20 seconds remaining on the clock, which means they'll go one further, and that's one more lap, one more run of opportunities for Amit here to find himself the chance to gain those places. And this is where you've got to be very, very patient here if you're Amit Kuti. He doesn't need to win this race. He'll be gaining points regardless, but you'd certainly want to pick up that race win and take maximum damage against Ara Ravindra, who is in 4th place right now.
So you are the table leader and you are a championship leader at the point of time, and why can't you just do that 2 in 2 races over a racing weekend? That'll be a fab result to basically take back home. Roshan Kathadia has worked hard to hold on to that position. If he loses it this time around, he will not be going to be happy about it, because he's done the hard work. He knows where to pile the pressure on. He knows where he's going to come in, possibly make that overtaking move. He's just got to shut the door on corner number 1, the fast right-hander, and maybe the entry point of the home straight. So these are the places where we could expect Amit Kuti to make a fight back there.
Well, Amit Kuti will know that if he can jam on the brakes late and find a way through, he may just have to put the block pass in if he wants to try and get through Kathadia, because he has been line perfect throughout the majority of this race as the number 23 that Kathadia has been running in. And the case for Amit Kuti has been getting onto the rear but not finding enough to go and make that move, and that's been key. And you can see there very contrasting lines, and that was trouble there through in that corner. Kuti taking advantage of going through maybe a mistake, a slowdown of some sort, and Kathadia loses out, but he's now going to have to try and battle that one back. That came out of left field, and suddenly Kathadia wants the inside. He's not going to find it that way here, and he's going to have to be forced to take that long road, the road hard travel. No, he dives late to the inside, trying to cover it up, but he can't slow it down, and Kuti will dive back through and take the race lead again.
Amit Kuti, the new race leader. The hard work has finally paid off. Roshan Kathadia made a mistake there. All that he needed was no mistakes towards that particular corner, and he's finally done that mistake there. So looking at it the way it was supposed to come in, it really means that Amit Kuti is now going to be taking 2 races win under his belt. But have I spoken a little too early? It's 1 minute 45 seconds to go still.
It looked like a missed shift or something like that from Roshan there, because it was a very, very awkward place to slow and not have yourself the room. It was one which Amit Kuti just rifled his way by, and nobody else was ever going to stop him in terms of that close quarters combat. But for the time being, he's only got 2 laps to hold on and rush away with things at the moment. Smuts not in a position to attack here at this stage, and he knows it, and he'll be happy because he will now extend his gap further here in terms of his championship efforts. In 3rd place with Steve Smuts, with Kathadia now in 2nd position, Solomon.
Arun Ravindra has been in this position before, even having watched him race on the track, where he's not the race leader. He's in 2nd and 3rd in the championship as well. Now he's going to be hoping that he has a much better outing in the next set of races that are going to happen. But for number 4, can he get ahead of Steve Smut to limit that damage in terms of points lost? Steve Smut will definitely close down between the gap between the second and third. But Amit Kuti, this has been a very much a phenomenal drive from him.
If Ravindra wants more points, he's going to have to hope the VPN doesn't hold out here for Steve Smuts. That's the only way. 7th, 8th and 9th position, all still close. You've got Savla, Banerjee and Garvit Loda. They're all fighting in out for positions here, and those are important points for those a little bit lower down in the championship. They know what they want, they know what they need. They've just got to try and find as much as they can out of it. Mia Rose too far back to do anything about it there in 10th position. The Australian unable to really get close. Timer does expire then here on this race. We do have one final lap though to sort out those positions. Those may be a little bit further back, hoping they're going to get close enough. Well, there are large gaps up and down the order. Ladic back. Looks like he's safe for the time being. Currently in 11th position right now, but the focus here has been on those in the top 4 of this race. They have been absolutely fantastic all season long. Kuti, Katharia, Smuts and Ravindra, they have been the fantastic 4, but today Ravindra looks like he's been missing something. He's been lacking a little bit. Steve Smuts has had a good run, but he's once again had a slow start to proceedings and has had to struggle to get himself anywhere near those two at the front. Katharia had the best start of everybody here in this race, led the most amount of laps, but it's not about how many laps you lead, it's about how many laps you can lead at the end and find yourself on the lead on the final lap. He's still trying everything to get to Amit Kuti here, but Kuti has just driven the most perfect race from 12th position and tried to just be patient, be calm, aggressive when he's needed to be, patience when he's needed it, and this has been the all-around professional drive which many people will be looking at here in terms of the Volkswagen Motorsports India brand and saying that's the sort of driver that deserves to be driving come the end of the season and getting themselves a license for an entire season's worth of racing. It's the consummate professional drive. 12th to first, the first double-headed champion winner of a round. Amit Kuti takes the double here at the Nürburgring.
Well done, Amit Kuti. Steve Smuts brings the car home at number 3. Arun Ravindra somehow limits the damage at number 4. But now with the points table in place, it takes him to 280 points as Raghav Buddharaja comes in at number 6, Navneet Kumar at 5, Rishabh Banerjee crosses the line at number 8. It's been a very tough day at office for Mia Rose, bringing the car home at number 10.
Yeah, an up and down day for Mia Rose, but there are so many things that you can look at in terms of this race and understand just how aggressive drivers needed to be, just how important these sorts of drives really needed to be. And what you could say here from Amit Kuti, what he needed out of this race was he needed daylight here. It was very much a stalemate in this championship all the way up through, but you can see the big difference maker here. An extra 14 points in the championship, an 18-point championship lead with 4 rounds to go. That effectively says all you need to. He picks up 1 win, he gets another 6, and then he can finish second. He's only got to beat, effectively, in this championship, Ara Ravindra only once in the final 4 rounds.
So if Arun Ravindra comes into the attack, he needs to win the next set of races. As simple as that. 18 points is a very long deficit to make up for it. Let's not take away the credit again from Steve Smuts. He also started right at the back of the reverse grid, but today the kind of pace that he had to challenge Arun Ravindra yesterday, I was just hoping that he could carry that pace today. Somewhere he just lost from 3 car lengths to about 12. Now Steve Smuts is going to look back and say what else he could do in the next race now.
I don't think he was even within 3 car lengths in any way, shape or form. He just was never in the right position. We are going to grab drivers in for post-race conversation. We're going to get Oshan Katharia in, who finished in 2nd position as apparently, no, we don't. But we'll try that again as we try and get in Oshan here for a little bit of a conversation. Oshan, that is a tough pill to swallow there with a couple of laps to go. You found yourself right up there in the mix. You had yourself the lead for about 15, 20 minutes, and then with a couple of laps to go, what just happened to you? Did you miss a shift? Did you have a slowdown? What happened?
No. If you have a driver who is going to aim not for the exit of the corner, and if he's going to aim for the driver to push him out, then that's what happens. I mean, there was sufficient space on the inside for the driver who was overtaking me to leave some space on the exit. And if he's going to aim to push me out, then I don't think that's fair racing. It's amateur racing.
Oh,
So
sure.
I'm really fuming about it. And yeah, I missed, I almost made the move possible again at the first corner. But then, yeah, my car just dropped into neutral suddenly. I don't know how.
Ocean, I understand these things are always on the heat of the moment, but you got to take heart from the fact that you really took the fight to Amit Kuti. You really took the fight even earlier on. Again, a lot of hard work when you're trying to take the leaderboard position. You may want to talk us about that.
Yeah, so the start was supposed to be really all about keeping it clean. So I didn't want to fall in any of the trouble. So that's why I decided to take the really widest line I could. And luckily, yeah, I didn't lose any positions. So my main target was to not lose positions to Steve or Arrow or even to Amit, because they are my straight championship contenders, I would say, in terms of pace at least. It won't look like that in the championship standings. Yeah, but it was just taking positions one at a time and not using up a lot of energy instead while overtaking one car only.
Let's talk about that start. You got the best start of all the drivers here in this event today that were in and around you, finished in the top four. How important was it to gain time, especially in the early stages? And just going back to, I think it was about lap 2 or 3, the off that you had down at the Dunlop curve, was that maybe one of those moments which, if you maybe look back at it, got that all nice and clean, that maybe you weren't going to be put into as much of a strong battle and fight from those behind?
Yeah, I was actually kicking myself for that, but I didn't have an option because I saw both the cars going side by side, and it was a really sudden move, so I had to take the outside line to avoid them. And luckily, I did not lose any position, so it was fine for me. But it was really valuable time lost, I think, because I could see that there were two cars in between me and my contenders. So yeah, I think it was quite safe in those terms.
You bring the gap down to 6 points between you and Steve Smuts. Before we let you go, shout out sponsors, anyone you'd like to thank.
Yeah, I'd like to really thank my sponsors, Runway Ritual. They are a costume jewelry brand, and also they are into now precious jewelry. So yeah, they have been trying to do some really great stuff in terms of designs and yeah, bringing it out to all the audience in India. So shout out to them, and also to everyone at Volkswagen Motorsports and all the organizing team behind this whole event, who are making this really awesome event possible.
Oshan Kathadia there coming home with second position overall, a little bit fired up after that one. Amit Kuti picks up the race win, and Amit, that is the breakthrough that probably you've been looking for in this championship so far. You extend the gap out to 18 points at the very top, and for the first time in a very long time, you've got some daylight.
Absolutely, as you said, I finally got a bit of clearance ahead, and I was pretty proud of that race, and I'm proud of how much patience I had throughout the race and making the move at the right time. And overall, I'm just really satisfied with that race, especially the overtake on Oshan. It was just a really good race.
Well, apart from the overtake on Oshan, any other particular overtake that you were very proud of today? Now you got about 18 points, as far as the championship leader is concerned.
Yeah, well, in the start, I mean, there was not really much place to go, so I think I lost 2% at the start. And coming back, there wasn't really many crashes, so it was just overtakes and overtakes for all four of us or five of us, at, like from 12th and so on. So making those moves, and I think that's what separated me and Steve. I think once I made a move on him, I gained around 2%. He was still stuck behind Raghav, I think. So that's what created that gap, which was around 3 seconds. And then after that, it was pretty hard to catch up to Oshan. Like I think when the pace is quite matched up, it's just really hard to overtake because if you know to use your ERS or cause right, then you can just easily defend. So it's down to you making the difference in the corners and hoping for a good exit, and that the guy ahead makes a mistake.
Speaking of differences, in terms of the way that you made your way through the field, was that maybe one of the more clinical drives and one of the more clinical performances? Because it looked like when you needed to be aggressive, you got out there, you went aggressive. When you needed to be patient, you went out there, you were patient. Was that maybe for you the most overall professional drive that I think that you found in this sort of race?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. Considering that I already knew when I was behind Oshan that I have a championship in the line, and I think Oshan is quite far behind considering his bad luck throughout the season. So he might try anything, but it's my job to avoid anything which happens. So I just wanted to take it easy and hope that he makes a mistake. And coming through the field also, I had to be quite clean even in the start. I had to be really clean, and I had to even lose some positions at the start to be careful. So I think it was a pretty clinical drive from me, and probably the best of this season.
Well, before we let you go, Amit, championship lead, first double winner of the season. You pick up the double, both sprint and feature, so to speak. So before we let you go, shout out sponsors, anyone you'd like to thank.
Yeah, I'd like to thank VW Motorsport for even organizing this and giving all our drivers a chance to participate in this competition, and IERC to give, I think, around 6 of us the chance to participate in this.
Amit Kuti there coming home with the race victory overall, takes some big championship leaps forward. Steve Smuts, though, picks up third place, another fastest lap to put in the back pocket. But Steve, was that maybe just another case of a slow start, unable to really make the places compared to rivals, and left yourself too much to do near the end?
Yeah, definitely. There was too much going on in the beginning. I didn't want to make any silly moves. It's a long race. And then before I tried to push for the fastest lap at the end there, my tires were already going off. So yeah, a little bit too little, too late. But I was there in case they ended up making a mistake up the front. They kept it clean, and third place will do.
Third place would do because one, for the fact that you've now consolidated your number three in the championship table, how do you see panning out in the next set of races next year?
At this point, still taking it race by race. There were a couple of netcode issues within the race. Obviously, running through a VPN, and my ping is way higher than it needs to be. But I'll work to try and get those fixed and come back strong.
And in terms of coming back strong, it was important for you in terms of third place in the championship right now, with Cathadia dropping down into second position. You maintain that gap by 6 points at this moment in time. Is your focus now on podiums, on trying to pick up a first race win of the season, and really now just trying to disrupt and maintain that third place?
Yeah, obviously, Monza would have been a different story, but not to rehash that. Looking to just finish top three, and we'll see how the championship pans out. At this point, no one's really sure yet what's going to happen, but I'm going to try and stay strong and bring my best.
Well, bring your best. We hope we get you to see. Before we let you go, Steve, shout out sponsors, anyone you'd like to thank.
Just my family again. My family comes in here and cheers for me. They watch on the YouTube links. So thanks to all my family, and thanks to you guys for the great show.
No worries at all. Steve Smuts then coming home in third position. Very, very quickly, we're going to get a chance to talk to Mia Rose. It's been a very turbulent up and down day. And Mia, that one for you today was maybe a little bit different to what you'd expected. Contact early on in the first couple of laps, and then that was a case of trying to drive back through the pack.
Yeah, it was a very, very weird couple laps. I thought it'd be sort of the same as yesterday, but I think I must have had my aggressiveness turned up a little bit too much, and yeah, I got someone in the first half of the first lap, and then I was sort of expecting Karma to bite me back, and it did the next lap. So, but other than that, it was even with the damage, I still got a top 10, which I'm happy with. So.
How did you like the stint in this one of championship at the moment? Would you like to describe your experience here?
It's been fun actually. Been really fun. Haven't driven a front wheel drive car in probably nearly 8 or 9 months. It's a sort of bit different coming from ACC with the GT3s and rear-wheel drive, and coming to this. It's basically a mini touring car, a mini TCR car, as I like to describe it. So front-wheel drive. It's been really fun. The racing's been clean, even if my ping has been extraordinarily high. But other than that, it's been a very fun experience.
I think the last time you raced in a front-wheel drive car, I was racing alongside you, and I was absolutely nowhere near you. But in terms of now looking forward, looking to the future, of course, well, firstly, how did you find these sorts of races? How important was it for you to jump in, maybe have a little bit of fun over these 2 days here at the Nürburgring? And, well, what's next for you?
It was really fun actually. It was something that when I was offered the experience of this, I was like, oh, this will be fun. Front wheel drives at at a track that's I've sort of got experience with. But no, next thing for me is actually later on today, is GT World Challenge America. Their I think 4th round at Laguna Seca. So that's on my schedule for today. But other than that, it's mostly just ACC stuff until the end of the year.
Sounds good. We'll give you a platform here before we let you go. Shout out sponsors or anyone you'd like to thank.
I'd like to thank John Alazy Esports Academy for recently bringing me on, and also I would like to, I know she'll hate this, but I'd like to thank my beautiful wife for being with me, being a very supportive person over the past 2 months, and I can't wait to go into 2021 with her by my side.
Well, no worries at all. Mia Rose picking up a very, very important result here, charging back through the field, a top 10 to finish things off. But we are heading over towards the final 4 rounds of the championship. We'll take a week's break and we'll be back after the I would say holidays period at this moment in time for more amazing action that will be coming up. And this 2020-2021 season is all about the next stage. Who can find what they need and who has what they need moving forward. It's been a case where January 2nd, it's going to be a New Year's dash as we hope to see more amazing action on the horizon. But it's Amit Kuti with all smiles, 18 points, but not without a little bit of fire and a bit of flair to go along with it here. Cathadia not happy after this result, thinking that he's been robbed of a race win. But that's for the stewards to decide, and we'll see more of how this picture unfolds when we see you in 2 weeks' time.
Power is, you only understand it when you feel it, you know?
Volkswagen.
Well, guys, a tough day at the office.
You only understand it when you feel it, you know? And when you do, trust me, you'll know why we live for these nights.
Volkswagen.
Racing, competing, is in my blood. It's part of me, it's part of my life. I've been doing it all my life. It stands up before anything else.
So we've been here for 10 years now, and we've been kind of creating a journey. We've been very much focusing on young drivers in order to create also a wider scale in this country.
The idea of Volkswagen as a brand is to support and grow motorsport.
They will not be able to endure anything.
There's an old saying in motorsport, you know, if you want to make a million, start with a billion.
You got to work your way up. You got to have talent. Ultimately, you have to be born with an ability to drive the car fast. I think you have to be practical, pragmatic. You have to be able to bounce back from a lot of setbacks, because you'll have 9 bad days for every one day, but the joy you feel on that one day makes up for the other 9.
It's probably one of the toughest sports mentally, physically, and many people crack, many people move aside and fade away. But if you want to sustain, then you have to really fight it.
You have to be fearless. You are always fighting against, and you don't think about what could happen when things go really wrong.
If you don't have that little bit of craziness in you, it's not going to really work out long term.
In my mind, I always use the aggressive approach. If you don't want to move forward, you always end up going backwards.
For me, it's always a great experience, motorsports, because you smell the tires, you smell the oil, you smell the excitement of the drivers, and it's just car pure.
You know, it also goes as a big sacrifice in terms of your career, because you're into something which is not conventional, and it's not going to give you too much of returns monetary, at least not in the short term. You know, where your friends are, you know, doing masters, living in the US, you know, making a lot of money. You know, you're here doing your thing that you love, which is not really giving you back in monetary terms, but you definitely go back home and sleep good because you're doing what you love at the end of the day.
The driver needs to extract every last fraction of a second, otherwise they're not going to win.
right, 3. Dirty. 7 left. 20. 8 right over crest and a care, 5 right. 8 right over crest and a care, 5 right. 20 down. don't go wide. 50. Slow 7 right, then 6 right, 30. 7 right, up exit narrows, 40. 5 left, then 5 right bites, 40. 1 left plus. 1 left plus. .250, room outside. Narrow of a jump. 130. Pink right. Up before. 6 right up. 60.
It's hard to explain why. It's just that feeling of freedom, you know? Being out there on the road and you have all this power. I mean, I could just be cruising down the road, taking it easy, or I could push that pedal and make that engine sing, right? Power is, it's a beautiful thing, man. But, you only understand it when you feel it, you know? And when you do, trust me, you'll know why we live for these nights.
Volkswagen.